Hello and welcome to Ace Your Space. I have a really exciting interview for you today. Today we've got Marsha Sims joining us. Marsha is an author and professional organizer. She owns Sorted Out, the premier professional organizing company in South Florida. And on her website, sortedout.net, she offers organizing classes and tips for everyone. Now, Marsha has written several books on organization and time management. Her most recent, 10 time management choices that can change your life. And I can't wait to hear a little bit about that one. So Marsha, welcome to Ace Your Space.
Thank you. It's delightful to be here.
I am so glad you're here. And I'm so interested to know how you actually got into this. I know that you were in real estate. And so I'm very curious. Can you tell us how you went from that and got to what you're doing now?
You know, my background is very diverse. I started out, my degree is in speech pathology, of all things. It has nothing to do with organizing on the surface. Real estate has nothing to do with organizing on the surface. But the reality is that my journey included a lot of things that brought me here in a really nice way. So for example, speech pathology taught me how to listen, because you're in a very enclosed space and you're dealing with someone's mouth and they have to talk and you have to be able to listen. And now in my programs, I do a lot of listening because that's how I teach, by letting, I don't tell people what to do. I ask, how many of these do you need? Do you really want this? If you didn't have this and you were looking for it, where would you look? Well, then that's where it belongs. How do you know where something goes? Just because there's something else in the closet where you say this should be, doesn't mean that this doesn't belong in the closet. It means something else is in the wrong place. But I get there by asking and listening. So that was the first part. The second part, the real estate part, helped me to be able to be more persuasive. And sometimes I have to be persuasive because if you're stuck and you don't know if you need something or not, I need to be able to very gently, without telling you you should throw it away, because I can't make that decision. Right. I need to be able to let you make the decision that you need it or don't need it. And you need to make the decision about where it goes and that kind of thing. And ultimately, clutter is simply postponed decisions. Mm-hmm. So what good salespeople really do is help you make the decision to hire them or buy their stuff. Right. And I use that technique to help people make the decisions about what they want to keep in their lives and what they don't want.
I read somewhere about a woman who said that she had hired a professional organizer and they just came in and just said, you've got to throw this away, and we're throwing things away and putting stuff away. And it was just such a bad experience for her. She didn't want to. I think she ultimately hired another person that was very good and asked and listened. But I imagine it's quite a skill that's necessary when you're a professional organizer.
In my opinion, it is the essential skill.
Mm-hmm.
I trained, in addition to training people who want to get organized, I train organizers and people who want to become professional organizers. And I have some rules for them. Rule number one is you absolutely never, ever, ever throw anyone's things away, ever.
Right.
Rule number two is it's a day of asking, not telling. I can't tell you what you need. I don't know your journey. I had a client once and we were sitting together going through papers, and and what I would do is I would always pre-sort things. So I would create a little stack of 8.5 by 11s, and they're all the same size, and a stack of little cards and a stack of things I think you might want to throw away, and so on. It's because it's mentally restful if everything is the same. And then when you get to things you can throw away, you feel good.
Right.
So I had this old ratty beat up notebook in the pile of things that I thought she would want to throw away, because to me it looked like trash. I didn't know. And when she got to that, she said, oh, this is the book that she's an editor. And she said, when I was little, I'd write stories in this book and I'd read them to my grandmother. And that's how I became a writer. And I said, oh, you have to keep this.
Right.
So we can't, as an outsider, go in and tell somebody what they need.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have 3 bread makers, well, you probably don't need 3.
Probably not.
Yeah. So my favorite question then is, how many of these do you need?
Right.
You know, I teach a method that's so simple. It's basically yes, no, or maybe. Yes, I want it and I know where it goes. Then put it there. No, I don't want it. It's leaving. So where's it going? You just have to decide.
Right.
And maybe. And maybe means either I'm not sure if I want it or not, or I want it, but I don't know where to put it.
Okay.
And so with those 3 categories, you can go through everything. And then when they get to, I want it, but I don't know where it goes, that's where I'm the most helpful.
Right.
Because I don't have to tell you what you want. You know that. I don't have to tell you if you've already decided to throw it away. I don't have to tell you that. I may help you figure out who's going to get it. Like, give this to, maybe you should think about giving it to women in distress or women in a shelter or families of veterans or something like that. But if you don't know if you want it or not, we just have to wait until you figure it out. And if you know you want it, then I have techniques for where does it go. For example, if you didn't have this and you were looking for it, where would you look? Well, then that's where it should go.
Right.
So,
that, I need to do that more. I often look for things and they're not where they should be. But I think that would actually, if people took that on and divided their things into those 3 categories, that would solve a lot, because you get 2 categories easily out of the way, and then you just have this 1 category to deal with rather than everything.
That's right. And so for me, organizing is about sorting. And it's about deciding you want clear surfaces. If you make if all you do is move stuff off of every surface, your house is going to look great. Even if you don't know where anything is, your house still looks great.
Exactly.
So we start there, and then we make a decision about where things should live.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all decisions, because ultimately clutter is postponed decisions.
Yes. I love that. Clutter is postponed decisions. Yeah. I think I'm going to put that, write that and put that somewhere so that I look at it and don't postpone that decision.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now, Marsha, the name of this interview series is Ace Your Space.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
It means having the kind of space you want. It means being able to walk into your space every day and feeling on top of the world because you know where things are, you're in control. That's what that means to me. It means having the life you want in the spaces that you should have. When I was brand new in organizing, I used to tell people, we want to create for you an area of sanity. Because when you walk in and everything is everywhere, you don't feel that feeling of sanity and serenity. Mm-hmm. So that's what you want. You want that. And so start with that. Ace that space. Mm-hmm. And then from that perspective, you can go on to the next thing. And what I love about the program that we'll talk about later is if you can clean off one table, you feel fantastic. But the magic of that is, and the power of that is, if you can do 1, you can do 1 more.
Right.
If you can do 2, you can do 4. And if you can do 4. So I teach people how to clear off surfaces. Mm-hmm. And everything's a surface. The floor is the largest visual surface in a room.
Right.
If all you do is clean that up, you feel better. Mm-hmm. So my program is it's a feel good every minute, clear off a surface. Now clear off the next surface. Now clear off the next surface. Now clear off the surfaces that are hot. Now clear off the interior surfaces, cabinets and drawers. Now clear off surfaces, big surfaces like garages and attics and basements. And I break it down to what is so simple that you cannot not be successful and with me. It's not even possible.
I love that.
Yeah, the only way you cannot be successful with me is if you argue with me every time I tell you to do something and you refuse to do it. Nobody does that. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to pay me to argue. They may want to argue for free.
Exactly. It's like they're only hurting themselves if they do that.
Ultimately, yeah. That's right.
So you touched on something, the sanity and the serenity. And to me, I feel that when people take on a decluttering project, I know for me, when you get to the other side of that clutter, they often find so many things available to them that they had no idea were there. What kind of experiences have some of your clients had with that? Like what has opened up for them that they had no idea would be there?
Okay, so I'm going to go with three things that nobody expects.
Okay.
Okay, spiritual, emotional, and physical. So in a spiritual way, freeing clutter opens up everything for you. Because one of the reasons that people acquire so much is you're trying to fill something. There's something they feel is missing.
Yes.
And they want to fill it up with stuff. So you can't get love from inanimate objects. You can't get acceptance. You can't get feeling of peace. You can't get those things from stuff, but you wouldn't know it because we go and buy because it feels good in the moment. So we acquire.
Right.
But if you can get serenity and peace and acceptance and love, then you don't need all that stuff. So on a spiritual way, that frees you up. Mental is because clutter calls your name. Everything you look at, and it doesn't consciously call your name, but when you walk in a big, messy, junky space,
Mm-hmm.
You have bills that didn't get paid. You have this that needs to be done. I need to fill out that form. Oh, I forgot to mail that letter. Oh, I have that report to do. You have all these things. So it frees you up mentally because you can walk in a serene place
Mm-hmm.
and do what you need to do.
Right.
And then physically, well, then it gives you your life back. So if you have a lot of clutter and you no longer have friends come over, or you have children who can't invite their friends over, or you go everywhere but you can't reciprocate, it just makes you feel worse. So this frees you up
Right.
to be able to buy the kind of life back that you ultimately want. Because the whole new minimalism movement is so powerful because people get to see we don't need all this stuff. Stuff doesn't give you anything but more work. I mean, you have to dust it. You have
Yes.
to remember it. You know what I mean? You have to,
Mm-hmm.
That's all it does. So we don't need all that stuff.
Right.
So this is like, in a way, you're buying your freedom.
Mm-hmm.
In a way.
It reminds me, where I used to live, there was a woman across the street, and she just had so much, like her garage was so full she couldn't park her car in it, and she never. We were on a committee together, and we would alternate people's houses to have the committee meetings, and she would never have it at her house because it was so cluttered. She'd say, "Leanne, can we do it at your house instead?" And it's like, I'm like, okay. And it's like, and I would see she would just get more and more, like the FedEx person and the UPS person would stop at her house like every day with packages for her. Mm-hmm. And I thought, what is she doing? Mm-hmm. But she hadn't gotten to the point where she wanted to clean that up yet, I guess. So,
well, that's a hard thing because
mm-hmm.
some people aren't there yet. They're still in the enjoyment of the collecting.
Right.
Some people are there, but they're afraid because they've tried and failed so many times mm-hmm. that they're afraid that they can't do it. And right. Then there are people who've tried and succeeded for a while, and then it grows back to its original condition, and they don't want to go back through the pain of cleaning it up right. to fail. Mm-hmm. And so I have finally figured it out. Like I spent my entire career trying to figure out how do you do this? How do you fix it so it stays fixed? Mm-hmm. And the answer is the whole teach a man to fish thing. I can give you a fish. I can come to your house. I can clean it up. And when I leave, it looks gorgeous. Yeah. But then you're going to do what you do. And if you don't learn how to do it, you can't keep it up. But if I teach you how to fish, if I teach you one step at a time, one item at a time, how to make those decisions,
Mm-hmm.
you have a lifetime skill. And I know it works because the people who are brand new in my program are still intimidated. Like I have to tell them one item at a time what to do.
Yep.
But people who've been with me for a couple of months, they just get started. I just say, what are you going to do today? And they tell me, and I'll ask, okay, what is your process?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to make sure that they're thinking of the way I taught them.
Right.
When they tell me their process, if it's right, I'll say that's great. If it's not right, I'll say, well, why don't you do it this way?
Mm-hmm.
Or have you thought about, are you going to start from left to right or right to left? Where, so that I'm guiding that.
Mm-hmm.
People that have been with me a long time, they don't really need me at all. They either want to stay in the group because it's like a little family.
Right.
Or they just feel like, they just want the third wheel on the tricycle. You know what I mean? They really know how to ride the bicycle, but
Mm-hmm.
they know they won't fall with the tricycle. So that's what we do.
Well, you mentioned, you got me thinking when you mentioned like people will clean it up and then it comes back and they clean it up and it comes back.
Yeah.
I think that I think that there needs to be a mindset shift on how they're thinking about this stuff as well so that it doesn't come back, I would think. I mean, I think that if you're still in the mindset that stuff is going to give you something and you're still trying to fill that spiritual hole or some hole there, then you may not ultimately be as successful as you want to be.
Yeah. So some of it is habits.
Right.
Some of it is technique.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it is just the sheer, grit. You have to do it, Some people just intensely do not want to do this.
Right.
I mean, and see, I had that journey. Like I remember when I was young, Barbara Bush was the first lady. So I'm dating myself. And I used to say, Barbara Bush doesn't have to clean up. Why should I? As if her life had anything at all to do with my life.
I love that.
Yeah, but that's what I used to say. And so it was this resistance to cleaning. I just didn't want to do it. I hated that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to figure out that I wasn't doing it for Barbara Bush or my sons or my husband, or I was doing it for me.
Right.
Once I figured out that I felt good when I could open my front door, and it's great. You could knock on my door right now and come in.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like that in the beginning. I had to really learn this stuff. And I had resistance to things that don't make sense. For example, I refused, after I finally got my house cleaned up, finally, everything was okay. But the last vestige was I refused to hang up my clothes at night. I said, I've done everything. I even washed the dishes. I don't have to, it was like this just resistance. And for what? But it was there. So when I work with the people now, I completely understand.
Mm-hmm.
I understand how it got like that. I understand the fear. I understand the fear that they're going to be rejected, or that an organizer is going to say, oh, why do you have that? Because
right.
Some of them unfortunately do.
Right.
When I had been in business, maybe 10 or 15 years, maybe 10 years, something, an organizer that I had met at a conference called me up and she said, how do you get past the resistance? I said, the resistance to what? She said, when you tell people that they should throw things away and they resist. I said, I never. It wouldn't even occur to me to tell people to throw things away because I don't want anybody to tell me to throw my things away. If I need to keep shoes that I had 18 years ago, I bought them. They're mine. I can keep them. But if I don't have room to keep my new shoes, and if that bothers me, then I need to rethink it.
Right.
But if it doesn't bother me, it's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a problem when it bothers you.
Right.
I've had people who call me and say, I want my son or I want my daughter or I want my husband to be in your program. I will not. I don't accept people as referrals, other than corporate. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But other than, corporate, if I don't accept that because the person has to want it.
Right.
If you don't want it, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Exactly. And I would imagine also when you got to the point where you had everything under control, you saw the benefit to you. And I think that also can go a long way for people when they actually see the benefit to having and maintaining that can go a long way.
But it doesn't take that long. I've had people who tearfully have said, this is the first time I've ever been able to get that counter cleaned off or that table cleaned off.
Right.
So they immediately feel benefits.
Right.
All they need is 2 hours with me, and they're going to feel benefit. Because other than that, why are they with me? If I can't be a benefit to you in 2 hours, then you shouldn't be in my program.
Right.
You know? So yeah.
So you've been talking about your group programs. I know, and I mentioned in the intro that you have some really amazing programs for people on your website. So can you tell us about some of the programs that you have for people?
Sure. The first thing is I have a free daily 5-minute organizing challenge. Everybody in the world can get it. It's totally free, no obligation. I don't hound you about anything. It's just my gift. It's like, I know how to do this stuff now. I used to not know, but I know now, and I can give it to you. I can share it with you. So that's what I do. Here it is, 5 minutes a day. If you can give yourself 5 minutes a day, you can improve your life. If you can give yourself 15 minutes a day, you can definitely improve your life. No question. So that's my gift to you. But I also would like to give something to the people who are listening to this program. And what that is if you want to come and play with us for 2 hours, you can come for free. But I have to know because I have to schedule you. But you can come for free, and I'll invite you to come and sit into a program and get something done and see if it works for you. If it works, I'll invite you to join. Well, it works.
Yes.
It's not going to not work. But if you don't like it, fine. You're one more person in the world who knows what it's like.
So, and that's your organizing mastery course that you have?
Organizing mastery,
So
guaranteed.
tell me a little bit about how you have that set up, because I think it's interesting. You have groups of people that you work with one-on-one, or not one-on-one, group as a group dynamic.
Yeah, it's kind of a group and individual lies at the same time. So the way it works is you're in a little group of never more than 6 people. 5 and then a visitor sometimes.
Right.
And the way it works is we're all in class together, and everyone sends pictures of their room. But don't panic, because what I tell people is, no one sees anyone's picture. And I tell people, send a picture that does not identify you in any way. So you stay anonymous. If you run into the person at the grocery store, which you probably won't because there are people all over the world in the program. If you I live in Miami, Florida, I'm not going to be shopping in Germany. Okay, right. So I'm never going to run into her. Yeah. But, and so we see your room, but you see all of their rooms. It's fair. It's like that. And then one at a time, I work with everybody. So I'll say, you can't see the picture. Okay, so I'll say, okay, tell me about this. Or what is your goal for this room? Or what do you want to work on today? Or why is that box on your bed? Or whatever. Why are shoes in the kitchen? Whatever. And you'll tell me. And then I'll say, okay, well, where do they belong? And then you'll tell me, and I'll say, okay. And then we'll do 4 or 5 items. And I'll say, okay, go put them in the right place and then come back. But you stay connected. And then the next person may be working on a bedroom, and the next person may be working on files. And so you not only learn from what you're working on right now, but you learn from future projects that you may be planning to work on for yourself. So we may be working on in your office today, but you want to really do your kitchen in the future. But if Mary's working in her kitchen, now you get to hear kitchen strategies. By the time you get there, you know more.
Right.
And so and so after about the first, I don't know, 12 minutes, everybody's busy working. You can hear boxes and shuffling and everything.
That's great.
And then after I get everybody started, I come back to you, I call your name and ask you, how are you doing? Or if you already know what you're doing and you already know how to get started because you've been in a couple of classes, then you know to put we decide where you're working, and you know, okay, everything that this is grammatically incorrect, but everything that you know where it goes, okay? But you know what I mean? It's just not said, I don't know how to say that right. Go put it there, and then the things you don't know, when I come back to you, I'll ask you. So when I come back to you and I see you have 8 staplers in the pile, I'm going to say, how many of those do you need?
Yes.
Right. And then we do the next 5 or 6 things, and then I get to everybody, and I keep going around until your office is cleaned up, your kitchen counter is cleaned up, your bathroom counter is cleaned up, your garage has, 30 more inches or 3 more feet of space.
Wow.
And at the end of class, I ask, are you happy with what you've accomplished today? And everybody is, because it's all individualized.
Right.
So I was talking to a woman this morning who sends containers of items to one of the islands that was devastated by the hurricane. And she said, well, can I come in your program and talk about it? And I said, no, because it's not like, I said, I'll send out a flyer for you, but it's not like that. It's not a program where you can come and talk, because it's a workshop.
Yeah.
And everyone is absolutely working. And when everybody's working and nobody needs me, like I'll call everybody and they say, no, I don't need you right now. And I do my work and they can hear me typing, I'll respond, I'll work. So we're all working together, and the camaraderie is amazing. So when you come back and you've cleaned off that counter that has evaded you for 4 years,
right?
Everybody's truly happy for you because they understand your struggle, because then they're going to show you the counter they weren't able to clean off. And she's going to show you the box she could never empty. It's just such a feel-good thing. And I didn't anticipate that. Like, I knew how to tell people how to clear up stuff.
Right.
I didn't anticipate the support for each other. Like, there's one guy in the program, and he said, he's an IT tech guy. And he said, listen, if you have a problem with your computer, just call me. You're in the program with us. I won't charge you anything.
Wow.
I was floored. I didn't know he was going to say that. I have people who've buddied up, and so they work together off the gun. And then the other thing is, everybody in my program, if they need me outside of class, no problem. If there's a space in another class and you want to come on, if you're on the Wednesday class and you want to come on Friday and there's room, just ask. No problem. Come and be with us as long as there's room. And it just works. I helped a woman do a kitchen that is just spectacular on a Friday night. I didn't have a date. I'm single now. She didn't have a date. She's single. So we decided to work on her kitchen.
We're going to have a kitchen date, yes.
Just for fun. Fun for me. She got her kitchen done. Now she can have a party, because she wouldn't have a party. Didn't have a party. Now she can have a party.
Yes.
It's just a feel-good thing.
That's such a unique program. I don't know anybody who's offering anything like that, and that's really, really wonderful. I love the group dynamic that you've got going there.
Yeah, it's just really nice.
So now I want to talk a little bit about, I was taken by your book, The 10 Time Management Choices That Can Change Your Life. So can you talk a little bit about, time management versus organization? And I think that's interesting, like time management choices versus time management steps or something. That I think the wording is interesting. So tell us a little bit about time management, because I think that often just really bogs people down, and people, when they don't have their time management under control, things don't work well for them.
Many years ago, I took a time management workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something that was so powerful, I repeat it a lot, and that is, time management is not the art of getting everything done. It's the art of getting the most important things done, which means time management is really about prioritizing. That's so powerful because we beat ourselves up because we can't get everything done.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, if you are one person and you're doing one person's amount of work, that's all you can do. And I think what people really are saying is they want to stop procrastinating and they want to stop being a perfectionist, which is the other side of procrastination.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the problem. If you have something to do that you don't really want to do, or that's challenging or really, really hard, or requires a lot of research, or boring, or is time intensive and you don't have time to be bothered right now, then you will maybe delay it, no matter if it's how important it might be to your future goals.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There are 4 categories of time. Stephen Covey was credited with the 4 time quadrants.
Mm-hmm.
And they are things that are urgent and important. We always do those. Things that are urgent but not important. We always do those. Like the phone rings. It has a feeling of urgency.
Right.
Or a meeting that's going to happen at 3 o'clock. It may be the worst thing, it may be the least important thing you have to do, but if you don't go, it's over. So it has that urgency.
Mm-hmm.
So the urgent things we do. Not urgent and not important, those are the recreation things. Like we go to the movies. Okay, it's not urgent, it's not that important, but we need to stop. I work in my garden. It's not urgent. It's not that important. I mean, if I don't water it, it's going to get watered. Eventually, water will come from the sky. Something will happen, or they won't. But where we miss out is on the not urgent, not important things.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the future. That is the quadrant where the book you want to write lives, or the business you want to open, or the product you want to make, or the invention, or the poem. Or that's the quadrant of life quality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the quadrant where if we don't do those things, it does impact our fantasized future.
Right.
Because if we don't do those things, if we keep doing what we're doing, we'll keep having what we're having.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And so those are the things we don't do that we feel bad about, that we regret when we're old and we say, oh, I wish I had written a book 35 years ago.
Yeah.
I talk to my students about, how to use your time, how to make sure that you accomplish what you say you want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it has to do with writing things down, making a plan, thinking about it, meditate, plan on when are you going to do, put it in your schedule. A friend of mine who's a time management, expert said that for 20 years, he never had time to go to the theater with his wife. Every year they'd say, oh, we want to go to the theater. 20 years, they never did it until they looked on the calendar and looked on the, thing where the theater is, the schedule, and actually put it in the planner.
Right.
It changed his life.
Mm-hmm.
You can schedule the things that you really want to do on your calendar. You have to break them down.
Right.
And schedule it.
Mm-hmm. So,
but if you don't, they will never happen.
Exactly.
So we have time management choices because, in my opinion, in my world, every single thing you do is a choice.
Right.
Everything you believe is a choice. You choose to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you say is a choice. You choose to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So with time management, you make choices about how you want to spend your life.
Mm-hmm.
Time is the only commodity that we have to spend. We can't save it. Money's a commodity, we save it. Vegetables are commodities. You can save it, you can store it. Time's gonna go.
Time just keeps going, right. Mm-hmm.
No matter what you do.
Right. So that's really a great view on it. I need to schedule a few more things into my calendar, I think.
Yeah, because, the only thing ultimately that you can control is you.
Exactly.
Ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you not do what you want to do? How can you be upset that things don't happen? You're all you can control. You cannot control other people. You can't control places. You can't control what other people do or think. Even how they drive. You can't control anything.
Right.
But you.
You can control yourself. Yes.
That's right. All we have.
That's wonderful.
That's right.
So I want to circle back around and tell people about the free gift. I know we talked about it just a second ago, but just let's recap about the free gift that you're offering to everyone.
Yes.
So,
okay. So the first thing is free 5-minute organizing challenge. Sign up.
Right.
You'll get it every day. If you don't like it, cancel. Whatever. But it's just nice. But the other one is to allow you to come in and visit and play with us for 2 hours. If you like it, awesome. I'll invite you to join. And for that, you just click the link, and I'll have a link for you. Both of them, it's just a link, and it's going to say, tell an organizer about your organizing challenge or something like that. And then there's a box, you fill it out, and then in it, you just put what you're struggling with and say that you would like to visit the class, and I'll send you the information. And then there's a place for a phone call. So if you want to talk to me, I'm happy to talk to everybody. And I can say that because no one ever calls me. So I'm saying that because it's okay. Just call me. I'll talk to you about your challenge, and I'll tell you what I think and tell you what I think you should do.
That's such a useful gift. And you know what, audience, we're going to have a link right down below this video to where you can get over to Marsha's gift and to sign up for the class and get the 5-minute challenge. It's so useful. I want all of you guys to take advantage of that. Now, Marsha, I think I've so enjoyed talking with you today. And I'm wondering, do you have just a few last thoughts for the audience?
Well, I have 6 steps to organizing anything.
Okay.
I like to use my name as an acronym. That way you can remember me, and if you forget everything, just remember my name and you can.
Okay.
So here it is. And I wish I could put this up on, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I could send this out if people want it. I could put it on a sheet and send it out if that would be helpful. You
know what? Why don't we add that on with the gift?
Okay, let's do that. Great. So here it is. M, make a plan. A schematic is a great way to make a plan. You plan and you think about your life in terms of, if everything were perfect and everything was exactly the way I wanted it, where would everything be? Where would I keep my shoes? Where would I keep Band-Aids? Where would I keep my coffee maker?
Right.
Just make a plan. That's A, assign places for everything. Everything is already in your house right now. It just might be in the wrong place. Where should it be? Assign a place. And you can do that on the schematic. R, once you assign a place, you want to remove the wrong things. So if you say, I want all my sheets in the linen closet, but I can't fit them there because all this other stuff is in the linen closet, then you remove all the wrong things. So now there's room for the sheets. S, surfaces must stay clear. That's my overriding rule. Right. If you look at a magazine, any magazine about a beautiful house, when you open it, what is most conspicuously missing is stuff.
Clear surfaces, right.
Right? The surfaces are all clear.
Yeah.
So keep that as a rule. You'll always have a nice looking room. H, have a destination for things you don't want or need.
Right.
If you know that you want to let some things go, think in advance, who do you want to get them? So that you know when you put things in a donation box, you know where they're going. It helps you make the decision to let things go.
Right.
And then A, adjust. Let's say you decide all the envelopes are going to go in this drawer and all the pens are going to go in this drawer. But when you're doing your work at your desk, you realize that you keep reaching in the envelope drawer for a pen instinctively. Make the adjustment, change them, and now things are where they belong.
Gotcha.
And that's it.
Oh, that is so useful and so simple. So I know that everybody's going to enjoy using that acronym and cleaning up stuff. So
it took me 30 years of doing everything the hard way to figure out that organizing can be simple. And I broke it down to simple, simple, simple because I needed it to be that way.
Gotcha.
And so this is all for me.
Very good. Very good. So, Marsha, I have so enjoyed talking with you today. Thank you so much for spending time with us. And audience, make sure you go down and get her free gift, and also check out her website, sortedout.net. We'll have a link to that on here as well. And audience, I want to encourage you to check your email tomorrow for tomorrow's Ace Your Space interviews. We'll have some more great speakers for you then. And until then, thank you, Marsha. I so appreciate it. And audience, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Been delightful. Bye-bye.